Here's something that I see with a lot of businesses who are going through the similar thing where they struggle then to scale. And you obviously did. You got past this hurdle. So my question is going to be, how do you do it? You saw a need and you said, I'm going to outwork everybody, and it's a price conscious market. So I'm just going to have to beat them by giving them more value than anybody else for the amount of money they're willing to pay. And you're willing to do that because your background, this is your second time starting over, your work ethic, your life experiences, but now you're hiring other people to come in and work for you who don't own the business. How'd you get them to care about it as much as you did?
Well, I think at the beginning, what helped me tremendously is because I was in the field all the time.
You do a lot of speaking engagements. I mean, you recently spoke at the
Yes,
experience.
sir.
What'd you do to build confidence in public speaking, knowing that you had to go off of a second language?
I just have too much passion for what I know. I wanna share with everybody my experiences.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Violand's GPS podcast, Growing Professional Skills. I'm your host, Jeff Jones. And in this podcast, we like to talk to business owners, thought leaders, decision makers in the trades, whether it's disaster restoration or plumbing or HVAC. Very excited for our guest today. Some of you know him as Jorge. Some of you might know him as George. It is Jorge Villalobos, the founder and president of the Best Restoration in Gainesville, Florida. So, Jorge, thank you very much for being on the episode today.
No, thank you. I'm excited to be with you, especially because I enjoy your podcast a lot. That means that it's a big challenge for me here.
Well, I will take every compliment I can get, so I appreciate that. So first off, I absolutely love the name of the company, The Best Restoration. We're setting the expectation. We're setting the bar. Where did that name come from, The Best Restoration?
Well, I'm gonna tell you this story. I used to work with somebody local here in Gainesville in the 2004, 2005, and we had the chance to go to New Orleans in Hurricane Katrina. I was there for 3 months. And in January, I came back here because I want to stay with my family in December, at the end of December. And my friend that was my boss, he told me, Jorge, we don't need you here anymore. And I say, oh my God, then what I'm going to do now? Then I say, I need to do something. Then I applied to a company, a local company, big restoration company here. And then they told me, you can come here. I love your resume. I love your attitude and your energy, but you have to have a business.
Hmm.
I say, what do you mean? He say, well, you can work like a subcontractor, but I don't going to hire you like a regular employee. Then this is the first thing that came to my mind driving from this office to the accounting that they opened my business was the best restoration. This is what I'm gonna call it. And if people is looking for me that I invest a lot of time trying to think about it, it's not true. And as soon as I put the name, I add masters of disasters. That this is what the people love the most.
I like it. I could be sitting there going through Google and I see Steve's Restoration and I see Scott's Restoration and then I see The Best Restoration.
Yeah.
I know which one I'm going to call. So obviously anybody who's watching this podcast right now hears you speaking, goes, I don't think he was born in Gainesville. And turns out you weren't. So being born and growing up in Colombia, and then coming over to the US, let's talk a little bit about what that was like growing up in Colombia.
Well, I have a really nice life. I'm gonna be honest with you. I live in Bogota, the capital. My father worked for an international company all his life. Then my siblings, three sisters, and my brother and myself, we have the chance to go to the university and to get our degree. And I went to a private school all my life, and I have a nice life. Obviously, we were young at the time that everything was bad in our country. We have a lot of violence and we have a lot of problems. That's mean that was really hard for us. Sometimes we cannot go outside. Sometimes we have to hear explosions in different places. Wasn't easy. But at the same time, we used to have a nice life, and I think that Colombia is going to be the best place for me. But my parents, they brought us here when I was 12 years old, and we went to Fort Lauderdale first, and then to Orlando for vacations. And I remember that I talked with my dad, and my dad passed away like 5 years ago, 93 years old. But he still remember that I was 12, and I told him, Dad, one day I'm gonna live in this country. I love how clean everything is, how respectful the people is. Some people open the door for you. The people say, excuse me, when they go in front of you. You don't see this in a big city. And, we were at this time 7 million people living in the same city. Then that means that wasn't really easy. But this is what happened. I have a really nice life when I was young, and I have the chance to do what I want. And but obviously, when everything start to change was when I start to work, and obviously my life completely changed. I worked with government for 9 years in the banking industry, and unfortunately, we have to leave our country in 1999 for security problems. We start to receive a lot of threats. They used to call my house to tell them that, my wife, that be careful, and that they know when my kids are going to the school. My daughter was 5 years old. My son was only 5 months old.
Wow.
And then we realized that that wasn't worth it. My wife at this time was a physician. Then, if you think about it, I was 33 years old, and you have to leave your country knowing that you invest a lot of time in your education, connections, family, cultures, sports, because I was a soccer player all my life. Then was really tough. But at the same time, we realized we cannot be part of this, and this is what kind of obligate us to come
So when
here.
you when you say they were calling the house, they were telling me we know where the children is. Obviously, seen a lot of the Netflix documentaries
Mhm.
around that time. So you had the drugs and the cocaine and all that going on. That even though you weren't involved in that business still found a way to get involved in your life.
Well, in our case was a little bit different because in the bank that I work was the largest bank in Colombia, and in my years working there, I started doing credit analysis, and my last job in the bank was the national manager of credit of this large bank. Then the problem that we had was that 98% of the employees, they were part of a big union, and we have 12,000 employees. Then unfortunately, a lot of my friends, and we start to work in kind of a program that gonna eliminate and gonna replace the bank for a new bank, trying to add some new conditions to make this thing profitable, because wasn't. And then obviously these kind of unions, they have the support sometimes from the guerrillas, and this is what exactly happened. The local guerrillas was the ones who start to call us and tell us all these things. Then I have to fly out of towns always with somebody that was with me, and
Mm.
sometimes you have people sleeping outside of your room. And every time that we go
Wow.
to different places, then we have to have guys with big arms and bodyguards and everything. Then I was young, and I say this is not what I really want for me and for my family, and that's the reason that we left everything there.
So they viewed you as a threat because you weren't willing to play ball the way that the guerrillas wanted you to.
Not really. It's because the union, most of the time, they have too much support from these groups, and obviously they try to avoid that people from the union get affected as soon as the bank changed the name. And this is what happened. I left the country, and 6 months after, the bank closed on Friday, and they opened with a new name a week after. Then everybody who was there was fired, and what
Wow.
they did is that they start to call the good people and offer them new contracts and new conditions. Then I'm going to say possible 65, 70% of the people who used to work there came back. But the idea was that the other 30% were the bank completely a disaster. That means that was a good condition. And today I left my country in 1999, 26 years after. Now the bank has a different name and is operating and is working really better than before. That means that obviously the union didn't like that, and I was part of the administration phase.
So growing up there and so much violence in Colombia at that particular time, and it was indiscriminate, and a lot of innocent people were getting hurt. But that's kind of the world that you knew. So to you, was that the normal? Or did you know that that was kind of a unique situation that you were in?
Well, the thing is that, it's incredible to say this because when you work with government, and when I start to feel the pressure and when people start to send me messages, I used to, you remember 30 years ago, we didn't have phones, cell phones, but we have fax, okay? And I used to receive pictures of rats uh, in the fax with my name. And I used to receive people coming to our office. I used to work in the taller building in Colombia this time, and they used to come to our office and start to scream and start to say threats to me. That was tough. That was tough
Wow.
because, again, I was in the technical side. I wasn't in the administration side. But unfortunately, when governments change, they put a lot of people out from us. I think we were like 52 general managers and regional managers. We only stayed three, and I
Hmm.
was one of them. And then unfortunately, I get all the weight, and sometimes I don't even want to talk about it because this hurt. It still hurt.
I can bet. I can bet. Especially just having to lift your family up and leave the country, leave the homeland, leave everybody that you know, leave what should have been a great situation for something that you didn't ask for, but
But,
took over.
I gonna be honest with you. Even if it's hard, or was hard, every day I pray and I'm so grateful that this thing happened. Because if not, I never gonna be here. And I go to Colombia, and my wife has to remind me that I have to smile when I'm there because I don't want to be there. I
Wow.
just go stay for a few days, and I say I just don't want to go. Obviously now my kids, they are grown up, and then I have to tell them, if you want to go, you have to go with me. You don't gonna go by yourself to any place. And sometimes the cousins say, hey, come on, we're gonna go to a club, or we're gonna go. I say, well, if you want to go to the club, I'm gonna go. I don't drink, I'm bored, but I'm gonna go
Sure.
with you because I don't gonna leave you alone for any reason.
Wow. So is it when you go back though now, there's a lot more law and order. It's a lot more, yeah, on the up and up.
I'm gonna say that it is, but at the same time, you hear all the time that things are happening. That means that
Mm.
I don't feel safe. I just came back from Mexico, and you hear all these things about Mexico. And I go to Mexico. We go every year to a place. The name is Los Cabos in Baja California. And I tell you, I feel so safe there. I don't have any problem at all. I go to
Hmm.
Colombia for 2 hours, and I just want to come back to the airport and come back here. This is the
Wow.
feeling.
So when you hear all of the people that were born in America who now have built this belief that America is the worst thing ever and the worst country out there, and knowing from your background and what you grew up in, and then coming to America and the opportunities that you've had here, how does that make you feel when you see somebody who thinks that way?
I'm sorry, but can you ask me again? I'm sorry that I have.
Yeah, you've got groups of young people in our country, and not really even just young people, but people of all different ages who are become very cynical about the United States and about America, and feel that America is a scourge on the rest of the world.
Uh-huh.
They were born here.
Yes.
And you come from the situation that you had, that there was a lot of danger, and you saw a lot of pain and suffering, and then you came to the United States and been able to build a great life here. What do you think about the people that were born here that view the United States as as a terrible place?
Well, I'm gonna try to be really respectful for what I'm gonna say,
Mhm.
But I think is a really high volume of citizen here that they have a really lack of education about what happened in the rest of the world.
Mhm.
They never have the chance to visit other places. They never have the chance to visit or share other cultures, and they don't understand the value that is to be here. To have the chance to walk around and don't think that you have to lock your house all the time or you have to lock your car all the time. You cannot go and walk in the street with your dog because you have to be aware that somebody can just come with a gun just to looking for your cell phone. It's a small things that people don't realize. And this is the minimum things. Now I'm gonna talk about the bigger things. The privilege that you have to go to a public school and then go to a public college and go and get a degree and have the chance that the government is supporting you during all this process. This is something that doesn't exist in other places. You know, it's funny. I was talking yesterday with a friend in an event. He's a teacher for 32 years, and he was asking me, "Oh, you did all these sports because I play in college basketball, soccer, and volleyball at the same time." And everybody is like, "How in the world you did this?" But good for you because you have scholarships. I say, "Oh no, I have to buy my shoes. I have to buy my uniforms. I have to pay for my trips. I have to do all these things. I just represent this and represent my university because I used to enjoy this because that was when you are young and you do this. But benefits, I think total the opposite. I didn't have time to study because I was so busy playing balls. But
Well,
this is what
it
I
worked out in
say.
the end.
How in the
It worked
world, you
out.
know, I get this kind of moments of truth for me when you hear parents saying, "It's incredible. They ask us $100 to help for some materials in the school," and I say, I can't believe that you are complaining about it. I used to pay possible $600 a month just to be in my school.
Hmm.
That means that all
Wow.
these benefits is what the people is not seeing, and they are here. And for me, education is so important, extremely important. I have, and possible you know that because we know each other for a while, that I'm a really big guy. You know, I bring my guys to all the classes. I want to be sure that everybody has the water damage, the carpet cleaning, the ASD class. I send the guys to the forensic class. I send the guys to, by the way, I sent one of my guys to the project management class that he was so happy when he came back. All these things. You don't have these opportunities if you don't have the money to do it. And most of the time, these opportunities are not there. That means that I think people need to read more. I think people, and when I say read, I don't say TikTok. I say get a book and read about what happened out of here, and you're gonna realize that life is a different story.
So maybe growing up in a situation where all of that wasn't so readily available and almost forced onto you, but you had to work really hard to get it and find those opportunities and pick and choose. Now that you're in a position where you can get all of that education, not just for yourself, but for those that you want to build, it's almost a driving force because it was something that you didn't have available to you to the same level growing up.
Absolutely. This is
Wow.
something. This is something that is there, and sometimes the people they don't take advantage of. Just think about it. 40% of the people in the states only speak one language. I just tell you this. You know,
I'm one of them. Yeah, I only speak one.
yeah. Think about it, and I respect that. Is I don't think that this, but you cannot imagine how hard it is to learn a different language. And this is when you think about it and you say, these efforts to get better, this effort to this what make the immigrant a little bit more excited with everything that we get here because we have to learn the language. We don't have any options. You know, when I came here, I always say the joke that when I came here, 33 years old, I didn't speak any English. My English was left hand and right hand and basic. And the main thing that I learned from my dad is I say, Dad, I need to know how to say pickles and onions because I don't eat pickles and onions. And I need this information that my father taught me, what I have to use.
Hmm.
And I enjoy with them because I always say, even the people ask me, you want a vanilla ice cream or a chocolate one? I say, no, no pickles, no onions. I'm good with that. That was my basic English. Then you can imagine when you have 33 years old and you have to learn a different language, and you have to live in a different culture, and you have to work in a different atmosphere that you don't have any idea. My first job in the States, believe it me or not, I was a driver for 11 months. And I used to drive people from the airports, and I used to drive people to medical offices and to buy groceries. By the way, I have a nice customer. I take him every Saturday. I pick him up at 7:30. He was 87 years old, and I have to take it to a dance club. And I pick him up at 11:30 every Saturday for 11 months. And
No kidding.
that was my job. And then I start to learn from my customers. Jorge, don't say this word. You have to say this. It's a way to say this. Don't say this. This is how I start to get a little bit of English at the same time that I was going to the school like 2 hours a day and driving 14 hours. Even my wife used to do my homework. I used to call her from the airport. I say, "So I don't gonna have the chance. This flight is delayed. I have to be here for 2 more hours, and I didn't do the homework." And she said, "Not a big deal. I do it for you." Then
The word for that, Jorge, is cheating.
yes,
It sounds like
then
you were
I
cheating.
did it a lot
Okay.
of time because I didn't have any opportunities to do something different. And by the way, my wife is good.
Good. She got you good grades. Good. Well, that brings me to a great question here. So you do a lot of speaking engagements. I mean, you recently spoke at the
Yes,
experience.
sir.
What'd you do to build confidence in public speaking, knowing that you had to go off of a second language?
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. I just have too much passion for what I know. I wanna share with everybody my experiences, and I wanna share everything that I've been learning in the last 10 or 12 years in the industry, and I wanna tell everybody that it's possible to believe in a lot of things. And if the people understand me, I'm happy. If the people don't understand me, I'm happy too. It is for me kind of, I don't gonna say a dream, but before I came to the state, this is what I used to do. I used to teach about credit. I used to go and I used to fly from 7 days of the week. I used to be 4 out of town. I used to be teaching people, going to big more board meetings and work with government and all these things that I love that. Obviously, I was limited here because it was hard for me to express myself. But now that my English is better, I don't want to say that it's perfect for all your viewers. But at the same time, I think I do my best, and the people sometimes they enjoy it because my accent is fun.
Well, I've lived here 47 years, and I can tell you my English is not perfect either. So thank you for taking the time to listen to Violand's GPS podcast. I hope you're discovering valuable insights and practical wisdom to guide you on your journey. The 2025 Violand Executive Summit will take place on June 23rd and 24th in Canton, Ohio. This event features 12 advanced business courses to choose from, covering topics such as performance management, artificial intelligence, digital marketing, results-driven selling, business financials, and much more, combining collegiate and real-world education from world-class instructors, all customized to small businesses in the trades. It's also a fantastic opportunity to network with inspiring professionals like those featured on the GPS podcast. Don't miss out. Register today at violand.com or use the links provided on the screen or in the description. Now, let's get back to our show. So you came to the States. We had to learn a second language, had to learn your way around. You had to meet people, the customs and everything that happens here in the States. You go into school. You had a job as a driver. What other early jobs or experiences did you have that said, you know what, I need to become an entrepreneur here in the United States?
Well, I just want to be honest with you. My father, and I follow my father for all his life. He worked in the same business for almost 35 years, and and he started from the bottom. He was the purchase manager of Nestle in Colombia, the chocolate company.
Hmm.
Then I always believed that this is what I want to do. I want to work in a company, and I want to start to raise the bar every time that I have a job and get better and get better. But my vision at this time was I want make somebody else shine. I want to be behind because when I work in the bank, I only have two people over me, was the vice president and the president, and I used to just work so hard to be sure that they shine, that they do everything that they need to do and everything that they need from me. I'm gonna be there for them, and this is what I say. I like this position. I like to be around smart people. I used to, I have the privilege to meet three of Colombia's presidents. Not a lot of people can say that. I sit with them in the same table and we talk about economy and we talk about projections of what's going to happen if we do this political thing or this one. For me, was kind of this was my dream. But when I came here, and I have to say, I have to start from zero. Obviously, all the experience that I had in banking, especially in government banking, don't gonna help me at all in what I was doing here. By the way, I did my first interview in the banking industry in Fort Lauderdale area. They have a bank. The name was Atlantic Bank, and they were so excited with me, but my English was really bad. And they told me, "Oh, you know what? I give you a job." I was driving, and they pay me $6 per hour. But this bank, they offered me $13 to start. And I say, "Oh, I'm so excited." I talk with my wife. I say, "Oh my God, we're going to get millionaires." I double my salary. Everything is so good. And then I went to the place that I have to work, and they put me in this cubicle with headphones, a computer, and a mirror. And they told me,
Oof.
"This is going to be your place 8 hours a day." I say,
That is,
I
that is
quit.
not the American dream.
I quit
No.
this. I
Yeah.
cannot do this. Then I come back to Susie. I say, we're still gonna be poor for a couple of years because this don't gonna happen. And this is when I realized this is not what I'm gonna do. And then I have somebody from my family one day. She told me, "Hey, I have a barbecue. Can you go?" And I say, "I want to go. That's cool. And is you have a lot of new friends?" He said, "Yes. You want to meet people?" I went there and I meet a guy, and he told me, "I work in a carpet cleaning business." I say, "Oh, that's great. I didn't know that people clean carpets, but it's really good. I think I like the idea." And they are looking for somebody. I say, "That's great." I did my interview and they hired. Hear me good, Jeff. The guy, his name, his nationality was from Israel, and he hired me because I didn't speak English.
Okay.
Okay. He say, "You are really smart, but you didn't speak English." I say, "Oh my God, that's great. I don't know if this is a compliment or what it is." Because this was a bait and switch company, and they want me in the phones to try to fix problems until the people get so upset because they didn't understand what I'm saying, they're gonna hang up the phone.
Ooh.
Look this story
Okay.
because it's true. But I quit from this company in the first 3 months 5 times. 5 times. I disagree of everything that they were doing. And
Hmm.
they came back to me, "Hey, Jorge, we need you here. Can you help us?" Yeah, I can come back, but you have to change this. I cannot tolerate this." Or then they start to fire people. They start to change process and systems. I start doing this, but they hired a lady that was answering the phones. I had three redo guys, yes, helping what the other disaster of the technicians that they didn't know how to clean, but they were really good selling. They did.
Hmm.
This company was running for 2 years, obviously went out of business. One day they gave me a good amount of money and they tell me, "Thank you for everything, but you have to leave." On Thursday, I left. And Monday, I started in a small family restoration business. And this is when I start to be in the field. I start to do carpet dyes, carpet reinstallation, small repairs, cleaning carpets. A lot of my work started in Section 8 apartments. My first flood was with a Home Depot dehumidifier and a couple of blowers, and was a small company in Fort Lauderdale. I worked with them for 2 years until we decide my wife need to come back to the school because she was a physician, really smart, really good. I think she has to come back, and this is when we found that Gainesville was a great opportunity, and then we left everything there. That was the best thing that happened. I tell you, one of the best things that happened in my life was to leave Colombia, but the
Hmm.
best thing that happened to our family and our lives was to leave Fort Lauderdale area. Was the best
Okay.
thing that happened. Because when we moved here, Susie, she came back to the school. Now she is an oncology nurse, and she has a really good job. Everything is cool there. But at the same time, we have the University of Florida here. Then
Hmm.
I didn't realize what I was doing when I moved here, and I start to see that we have 125 apartment communities around us, and we have all this water around us, and we have all these opportunities. Then everything changed, completely
So was
changed.
was the Gainesville market competitive at that point, where you have a lot of competition out there?
Well, when I came here, was 35 carpet cleaning companies in a city that at this time has 180 or 200,000 people. That was
Okay.
a lot, a lot. Why? Because the universities here, then everybody need carpet cleaning and everything. Was a lot. Uh, but I tell you today, possible we manage. I'm gonna say close to 60 to 70% of all this market in this town with our business, and then I saw the opportunity. I always say that for an immigrant, for an American people, one day is just one more day of work.
Okay.
For an immigrant, one opportunity is the rest of your life. You just, if you see it, you just jump, and you're gonna get it, and you're gonna sacrifice yourself, and then you're gonna realize what's worth it. This is how I see it.
How so early on then we've got a lot of competition. We're going after a very competitive market. It's very much a price driven market. What were you doing to get your first customers early on to separate yourself from the competition?
Well, the first thing is that, I have my background in do the right things, and I was in a big macro economy work and macro good quality work. Then for me to start to clean carpet was a challenge because I say, I want to be the best one. I want to do this so good that the day that I go to do something for somebody else, these people never gonna call me back for complaint or nothing. They're gonna call me because they need another job. Then this
Okay.
is what I start to do in this town. I start to go to places, and the people start to say, "This is how you leave the carpets every time that you clean it." Yes. I have a friend that she managed another apartment complex. Let me call her. Then this is how everything starts. Then I get one job, and I get one job, and I get one job. And then one day I say I have to buy another truck. And the next day I say I have to buy another truck, and I have to hire three more people. And this is how everything starts to progress really, really fast. Now, I want to tell you the funny part because you know that I have bad jokes, okay? But the funny part about this is that I owe a lot to the beer companies in the States, okay? And I'm gonna tell you is because I used to go knock the doors to apartment communities. How you doing? My name is Jorge, and this is what I do. Oh, this is great, but I have the same guy with me for 10 years, and he's doing really good. I don't need you. I say all the time, let me give you my business card. You never know if you need something. Possible he has a problem with his truck or whatever, and I'm available all the time. And
Hmm.
then I did the same in different parts. And 2 or 3 weeks after, I start to get these calls at 3 a.m. in the morning, and they say, Jorge, I have two apartments flooded. Is there any way that you can help me? Of course, I'm on my way. I was there, did the whole job, did the whole monitoring, the whole process, and I come back to give them my invoice, and I say, I just want to ask you something. What happened with your technician from 10 years? Oh, he was drunk.
Oh, okay.
He was drunk. Okay, that's
Okay.
cool. Thank you. Whenever you need me again. And you know what? This start to happen regularly. Sundays, Saturdays, nights, holidays. People call me from different places that I just left a business card. Are you available? What happened? My technician, he's in a party, and I think he is drunk. Then I
Yeah.
love beer. Then every time that they need sponsors, I am a big sponsor of beers.
That's great. So, but here's something that I see with a lot of businesses who are going through the similar thing where they struggle then to scale. And you obviously did. You got past this hurdle. So my question is going to be, how do you do it? You saw a need and you said, I'm going to outwork everybody, and it's a price conscious market. So I'm just going to have to beat them by giving them more value than anybody else for the amount of money they're willing to pay. And you're willing to do that because your background, this is your second time starting over, your work ethic, your life experiences, but now you're hiring other people to come in and work for you who don't own the business. How'd you get them to care about it as much as you did so that you can scale and continue to provide that level of service?
Well, I think at the beginning, what helped me tremendously is because I was in the field all the time with them. That was the best thing. I was the boss, but the boss always was working on the field. I have my personal truck at this time that I have all my equipment and all my setup. That means that they have a big job and they say, "Oh, this is gonna be a long night." I say, "No, no worries. I'm on my way. I help you." Then I used to show up to them. We work with them at 3 a.m. in the morning, at 7 o'clock in the morning. No problem at all. That means that they realize this guy is not the boss. This guy is like a partner. And this is what I always say to my guys is that this is a partnership. In certain way, I'm in this side of the desk, okay? I'm the one who get the jobs, I do the marketing, go to the events, Chamber of Commerce, Builders Association, all these things. You have to do your part, I do my part. At the end, we share profits, you get yours, I get mine. As soon
Mm-hmm.
as you start to do your job better, believe me, I can get you more work because people gonna love what you do. But at the same time, as soon as you get better, you're gonna have the chance to go to more places. And then that's the reason that we start to extend this family. And again, we start one, two, three. Today we have 62 full-time employees here that they work in three different businesses that we have here. But a lot of my guys, they are with me for 13 years, 15 years. I have a guy that the company gonna celebrate 20 years in January. He's with me for 18 years.
Wow.
Then,
That's impressive.
I came to him one day and I say, Mike, I need to ask you something. Why in the world you still work with me? Give me a reason. And he said, well, you treat me good, you pay me well. But I think the main reason that I work with you is because every time that I need something, I know that I can go to your office and I can ask it and you're gonna help me. For me, this is the more valuable thing that you provide.
Hmm. So, in building this business, what you did was you created avenues for those employees that were willing to care a little bit more to better themselves.
Yes,
You created
absolutely.
opportunities for them where if they're willing to put in a little elbow grease, they can create a lifestyle and build a family and have a great opportunity.
This industry is amazing. If you have the chance to learn about the industry and to go a little bit deeper, I tell the guys, if you come just to be a carpet cleaning and in 3 years you're gonna go to another place and you're gonna be a carpenter and everything, I'm gonna help you. Believe me, I'm gonna help you. And I have a lot of friends that they do construction. I can connect you with them. But when you come here with the idea that you want to be here only for a couple months to figure it out, I'm not the first option for you. I want you to
Mhm.
build you really well. And I can go with you in the truck and I can teach you all my magic tricks and all the things that I do. But I want to be sure is that you start to realize this can be a good place for us. Now, think about it because this is the hardest part of this equation when you have a lot of people that came from other countries. Okay. You have, I have a lot of people who work with me. They are architects. Okay.
Okay.
They are
Okay.
graphic designers. I have 2 years ago some people who came to clean during the time that the university get really busy. I have employees that came from Venezuela. They were physicians. Okay. Then
Okay.
when you come here and you realize I used to do this and now I have to do carpet cleaning, it's kind of weird. Okay. Because they say,
Hmm. Yeah.
well, all my effort and everything, and now I have to start doing carpet cleaning. But I always tell them, look, I'm the first witness that this thing works. If you learn what I learned, possible one day you're going to be in my chair or possible one day you're going to be in North Carolina opening a business because I teach you everything that you need to know. But you have to be convinced what exactly you want to do. And if you want to, you say, I want to invest because I want to do this, this is what we're going to do. And then, I have, again, I have a guy that, I share with you this. He's an economist from the University of Florida. He is
Yeah.
getting married at the end of the year. His wife, his, his future wife, she lives in Orlando. She has a really good job. And he was debating, I don't know what I'm going to do. Jorge, I like what I do here, but my wife is going to be there. I don't know what to do. And I say, look, you have to do whatever you think is the best thing. But remember, you're going to go to the Bank of America to work like an economist. You're going to start in the bottom. But I think you're young. Go ahead and do it. He came the next day. He said, I realized that I did my numbers. Nobody gonna pay me $85,000 to start. Then I'm dealing with my girlfriend to see if she can move here.
Okay.
And what I'm gonna do is I wanna go to get more classes, invest more in what we do, and then possible I'm gonna go to the 80, 90s, and 100, and still I'm gonna be okay. It is,
Yeah.
it is, it is something that you have to believe, and you don't have to feel ashamed. I say, I don't know if you read this, but I wrote an article in CleanFacts talking about the carpet cleaners for the students communities, or you do apartments. And I always feel when the people say, "Hey, how you doing, Jeff? Are you okay, Jeff?" Yes. What you do? Oh, I clean apartments. Oh, it's like, what? What you say like this? Oh, because you just do the $20 per room and all these things. And then I wrote an article explaining to the people and try to promote and support the guys who do the same, sometimes smaller, sometimes bigger. That this is a great business if you do it
Mhm.
right. If you do it right, you can, I don't have any problems with my technician. They live really well. You can go outside to see my parking place and see the vehicles that they drive. And we do apartments. That means that I don't think that is bad.
Hmm. No, but you're building people. You've built a company. You're giving back to the community. You are living that dream that you came here for. I mean, that's things you hear about or you read about, but you're the walking proof of what is available if you're willing to put the effort in. You put your ego aside and you care,
Yes.
eh, and you drive forward and you give back to the people and build people. So you started, yes, with a second language in carpet cleaning as a one man operation, chasing apartment in a college town. You've built a very successful carpet cleaning restoration business, 20 years now. You've built a great team. But along the way, where was the biggest growing pains as you were scaling this business?
Well, I really believe that one of the things that you are missing, and I'm gonna say this for other people who has their own business and they believe that they can do this by themselves, I think is the lack of action when you need to get together with somebody who knows more than you. This is really important. I tell you, I owe a lot of what we have like business and like I have like a professional and like my family has to what happened with our mentors. If we didn't have mentors when we started to do this, possible today you're not gonna have this interview with me. I'm gonna be sitting in a truck doing cleaning and possible putting good money in my account and the next day I'm gonna do the same. But I have the chance, and I say all the time this story, to go to one of these events for the experience in Clearwater. I always tell them the truth. I didn't have the money to go to the conference. I only have the money to go to the trade show that I pay only like $10 or $15 at this time. And then I drove from Gainesville to go to the class, and I saw this big sign that Howard Partridge has that say, "Don't be a slave of your business." And I was like,
Mhm.
"Wow, I like this. I like this." Then I hear the first time. I heard the first time Howard talking, And when he came to me at the end, he was selling. I don't know if you remember, they have these tapes and all these things, and he was in the back saying, and I say, "Oh, what you do?" He said, "I do apartments." He said, "Oh, that's great, but possible you're not a customer for my program because we just do high end and all these things." And I understood. I say, "Yeah, possible not," and I really appreciate it because I didn't have the money for the tapes either. That means that was a good excuse for me to tell possible I'm not good. But the year after, I came to the event. I have the chance to be inside of the class with Howard, and also I have the chance to do my questions and all these things. And at the end, he realized and he said, "Tell me how much money are you selling?" And I told him the number. I say, "Oh, I like it. You can be part of this." Then was great because I start to go to all these events. I have the chance to go and see Mr. John Maswell and Michael Gerber and be in front of Brian Tracy and Dr. Robert Rom. And I personally am friend of some of these people today after all these years of be going to these events. Then I owe him a lot. I say everything that I bring to the table for my technicians, I'm gonna say most of the information that I get it from them. And
Wow.
obviously, if you think about it, sometimes the people think this is enough, and it's not. You need to be accountable with somebody who have you all the time saying, "Hey, I don't like your number. Something is wrong. Why you don't adjust this? I think you have to do this or don't do this." And then it's really important that you don't lose this your ego. Sometimes saying, "I think I can do it. Why I need somebody else to tell me what to do?" And you always need it. I tell you this. I realized something also that is important. They don't teach this in even in Harvard, that they are talking about Harvard now every day. They don't teach these things that are so important. That is a problem for a CEO or a business owner to have a big heart. I'm gonna say this
Okay.
again. Have a big heart when you are a CEO. Sometimes it's hard because you want to help everybody.
Hmm.
You want to please everybody. And sometimes you play with the profits of your business trying to help everybody. And it's not good. Then sometimes you have to hire. In my case, I'm really grateful. I have a GM that he was in the military war. and
Okay.
and 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 he is the one who keep the discipline for me, not for the business. I run the operation, but he say, "Hey, it's better if we don't do this. It's better if we don't do that." Then I love that this happened because if I don't have him, I don't know where I'm gonna be. Then it's funny because I always tell to my GM, that is my really good friend, I say, possible if I'm here and you are the only one here, this business don't gonna exist. But if
Hmm.
it's the opposite thing, possible don't gonna exist either. That
Yeah.
means that we create this good balance that allow us to work really well, uh, being sure that you hear and you contemplate things, not forgetting from where you come, because this is so important. We are so big here. And my good friend Kelly, that is the lady who tells us every week that we are doing good, that we spend a lot of money in the non-profit organizations events. We are sponsors of a lot of things, and these things is crazy, the amount of money. But I always say, every time that we do these things, it's not proof in any book, but I can prove you in my life that we always receive a lot of rewards, not only in jobs, but most of the time in a lot of things that happen to our business, to our family, to everything that is around. That means that I think we have to hear and we have to work with other people that tell us, possible this is a best way to go there. And I'm grateful about this decision.
Yeah, and you're talking about Violand business coach Kelly Dolan,
Yes.
who works with you. And I know when I talk to Kelly and I'll be like, "Hey, how's Jorge doing?" Her face lights up, and she's like, "That's such a fun, great account." They're prepared, they listen. They're not that they're going to do everything that I need them to do because they're going to do things their way sometimes, but They're always willing to listen. There's no ego that goes with that. And you can tell when we talk to you and do interviews like this, you're a very successful man. You're a very smart man. You succeeded in two different countries. I think few people can say that. But you come across as just somebody with that huge heart. And then you talk about, well, I hired a GM who can be enforcer's not the right word, but he could be somebody who's a little bit more, hey, keep me grounded and where I need to be, keep the business grounded, and provide that accountability into the business. And I think that's huge. We see that with our most successful owners, that their right hand person is very opposite, whether it's a husband and wife or it's a president and a GM. But you always want to hire somebody who is much stronger than you in the areas that you're weakest at, to provide that kind of balance, but then be willing to listen to them and allow them to do their job. And is there times where you found that's challenging because you have a GM saying one thing and you're feeling something different?
I'm gonna tell you at the beginning, yes. At the beginning, yes, we have a lot of yes and no, and I'm gonna tell you is because he, sometimes, and I talk about a lot about personalities. I'm a really big in personalities. I get certified by Dr. Rom, and I personally went to with him to different places just to train about this. And I'm in this thing that I'm a really high I. I'm a really innovator and really like with the ideas, with everything. And Todd Herbert is the name of my GM. He is really a high C guy.
Yeah.
Okay, then every time that I used to say, hey, come on, and we do this and this, he was like, oh, I don't think so. I don't think so. And especially with the personal. I think this guy is taking advantage of us. And I was trying to, oh, come on, we can figure it out. And, always like looking for the friendly way to fix problems. At the beginning, we have this kind of da-da-da. After I understood him, I understand how is his behavior, and he understand that I'm the crazy one. Then I think everything start to change because he realized if it's not because Jorge all the time is bringing ideas about what we can change, about where we can go, what new customers we can visit, about, oh my God, he came back from an experience, and every time that I came from the experience, they're gonna try to ask for the day off because they know that
Because of the crazy ideas.
I come on fire and I bring all these ideas and I bring a lot of equipment, and they are like, oh, every time that this guy goes is a nightmare. But yes, we have problems, but it's getting extremely better. Now that you know that my son also is involved in the business, he's our operation manager. Then now I think Sergio he saw me like the big mentor because I'm his dad, but I think he goes under the umbrella of Todd a lot to be sure that what he's doing is the correct thing. That means that it's good because sometimes they come and they say, hey, Jorge, we took a decision. And I say, oh my God, I don't know if it's good or not. But long time ago, I realized that, this is what Howard teach us during years is to build a turnkey operation. I don't have to be here all the time. I love to be here. Possible this is the I think the bad dream for them is that I don't want to retire. I'm pretty sure that I'm going to be working for a lot of time. And, when you have this kind of energy, it's hard for me to be far from the business. But
Yeah.
this is how we operate. And now we have this like nice combination between the younger side of Sergio learning and getting better, and also we are in the 55 and 60s, bringing all this experience for him. That means that it is a nice thing. Also, I have people in the middle, but I don't know if you have the chance to meet Jason Raymond. But Jason, unbelievable guy. He worked for Serpro for 20 years. His father was the owner of the company in Gainesville. He left the company. It's funny because he told us all the time, I see you like a big competition and I don't like you and all these things. After 20 years, one day, we get connected and he say, I don't want to continue with them. And I say, You're more than welcome to home here. And he never expected that as soon as he came here, a year after, he was going to classes and going to this. I say, this is how we work. He came back the last week from Contractor Connection. I say,
Mhm.
look, I'm going to take advantage of your knowledge and your skills. And I want to be sure that you understand that you have something that sometimes people don't see it. I see it. And I'm going to take advantage of.
So where I guess we kind of want to wrap this up with you've been doing this now for 20 years. You go to a lot of shows. You're very involved in the industry. You've done stuff with the IICRC. Where do you see cleaning and restoration going the next 5, 10 years as an industry?
Well, I'm gonna separate this because for the cleaning part, I just see that things are just gonna get limited in the short future. I don't know what's gonna happen in 20 or 30 years. I don't know if this cycle of carpets they gonna come back. But you see for the last 10 years that the movement is to remove all these carpets from the places and put this laminate flooring. And for us, if you think about it, all the students communities that they start to do this is less work for us. And then what I try to do is move my cleaning to other sides, more to the commercial side.
Hmm.
Offices is still gonna need cleaning. And then you have to go also to other services like hardwood cleaning that we didn't do it before. Now we are doing really good with hardwood cleaning process. We do a lot of outdoor cleaning. Then it's something that don't gonna change for any reason. Upholstery cleaning, you're still gonna have fabric in in these things everywhere where you go. You cannot put laminate floor in a sofa. That is good. That is good news for
Right.
the cleaners. Uh, but I really believe that it's gonna be limited. I'm gonna think also that possible the demand for equipment like truck mounts and all these things is gonna go down. And unfortunately, because I think I love what the industry is providing us and all this, but I really believe that possible you're not gonna see the same movement in the future. And for the side of the restoration, I say I completely the opposite side. Restoration is gonna be absolutely insane because I live in Florida and I can see the changes for the weather in the last 20 years. And
Hmm.
I tell you, when we have rain here, is bad rain. And we are really lucky because we are in the middle of North Central Florida. Then I have Jacksonville 2 hours away. I have Tampa 2 hours away. I have Orlando 2 hours away. I have Tallahassee 2 hours away. Then I
Hmm.
have we have customers that they call us, hey, I need somebody in Tallahassee. The guy who can be in Tallahassee can be there in 4 hours. I say no, I can be there in 2 hours and 15 minutes. Then I get a lot of work because the people don't have the facility for us to move to different places. Then restoration in our area is gonna be always good. Now, my thoughts is that in the future, also a lot of the independent companies, and this is my personal opinion, if you're not married with some of these TPAs, even if some people complain about how TPAs work and all the paperwork that you have to do and all the effort and extra work that you have to do, I really believe that insurance companies they're gonna start to limitate their scope of work just to these companies attached to these TPAs. Then you don't gonna have the same opportunity to get all the work that the people was getting in the last 30 years, and possible you start to see it limited right now because sometimes you go to places and they say, oh, the preferred vendor is coming, I cannot use you. I really believe that in the next 5 years, this is gonna be from every 5 calls, possible 3 calls, they're gonna say exactly the same. I cannot use you. Then I
Yeah.
think unfortunately, for some people, I don't do a lot of TPAs. I just start to do 100% of my job right now is private jobs. But I wanna try to go in TPAs, especially because I see this possibility in the future, and I want to be sure that we don't get out of the industry.
Yeah, for sure. The TPA discussion is probably the most heated discussion in the industry right now between those that do and those that don't and never will. And there's no shortage of those conversations when you go to an industry event, which is another reason why it's worth going to figure out what side of the coin is best for you and for your business. So, with that, Jorge, thank you very much. I appreciate your time. Your story is absolutely incredible. What you've accomplished here in the States and building the company and building a family and building a business and a reputation is second to none. So, congratulations on all of your success,
Thank you.
and we wish you the best moving forward. I'll leave it last comment to you. To anything that you want to say to the viewers.
Well, I want to say that we have to be really grateful to be in the industry. Definitely, it's a lot of things to learn. I just wanna I just want to recommend the people invest in your people. Nothing is more important than your team. Trucks and equipment can be replaced. Good team, you cannot. I was doing a evaluation yesterday about culture and profits. Okay, and I realized that sometimes you sacrifice profits to keep your culture.
Yeah.
And some people, they do the opposite thing, that they sacrifice culture for high profits. The only problem when you are in the second group is that your turnover of people is gonna be really high. Then I think we have to take care of them. If it's not, let me tell you, finish with something that I learned from Howard Patrick. Howard say, and this is what I say to my technicians. He said, your business is your vehicle to obtain all the dreams that you have. In certain way, use your business to everything that's gonna make you happy, okay, or make other people happy. And I say to my technicians, your truck, your business truck, is your vehicle to get everything that you want in life.
Hmm.
Take care of your vehicle, because this is the one who gonna bring you everything that you dream with. Now, you don't want to take all your vehicle, or I don't want to take off my business. Definitely possible. I have to live the dreams of somebody else.
I love it. That's great advice. Yeah, your culture is your only true competitive advantage. You're right. Trucks can be replaced. The equipment's all the same. The standards are the same. The certifications are all the same. The one difference that the owner can control is culture. So great advice. Thank you, Jorge, and thank you for watching. And we hope you like, subscribe, and watch future episodes from here. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Jeff.